Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our second installment of the webinar series, The Future of Touchless Parking. Today's episode is about connecting to license plate recognition technologies. We're going to focus specifically on access technologies today. Now, for those of you who were familiar with the webinar series, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us again. For those of you that are new here, this is a series for parking operators. Now, we at Get My Parking, who I'll talk about in a moment, had a pretty simple question that we asked ourselves earlier this year. We know that customers want touchless parking. And I think by this point we all understand why we don't want to have to touch things if we don't absolutely have to. So touchless customer experiences are the thing. And so we asked ourselves, well, what is it that's causing us to take so long to move our properties towards completely touchless environments? And well, the truth was fairly evident, fairly simple even. Making software and hardware decisions are complicated. Software has an endless number of configurations, and there are always a number of competitors to consider when choosing the right combination of software and hardware for one property. Customer expectations from one city and one geography and one property to the next can be different. And so what we did was we stood back and we thought, okay, what value can we add here? And what we decided was, if we could make it just a little bit easier for a parking operator to make a decision, to more clearly understand what worked well with others, well, then that would be a great contribution for everybody. And so in that spirit, we thought to ourselves, well, what better way to do that than to rope in some of our ecosystem partners and present more than one solution at a time in very simple business language, and at the same time showcase, well, hey, listen, Get My Parking and in fact many ecosystem partners actually work quite well together. We collaborate quite frequently. And so in that vein, we reached out and managed to find some really quite exceptional participants to come and help us run these webinars. And so I'm very, very grateful and glad today to be joined by Evelien O'Sullivan from NEDAP. So Evelien, welcome. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. Great to be part of this.
So as a little bit of trivia, Evelien, where are you calling in from today? I see the sun in the background a little bit.
Yeah, it's still daylight here. I'm calling in from the Netherlands in Europe.
Ah, fabulous. Okay, so here's the agenda for this webinar. We aim to be done in less than 25 minutes. This is meant as a nice and tight discussion and presentation of some solutions. First, my name is David McCann and I'm your host, and I represent Get My Parking. So I'm going to take a few minutes to introduce you to Get My Parking and some solutions that it has to provide touch-free or touchless parking experience. And I'll introduce a few products that we have briefly. We'll take a moment to answer questions if there are any, and then we'll pass the baton to Evelien to take us home, and she'll get us done after she presents her really quite fabulous solutions around license plate recognition technologies. So without wasting anybody else's time on that agenda, let's get things started. Let me just turn my screen over to my presentation. Okay, so first off the cuff, for those of you that are unfamiliar, Get My Parking is an Indian technology platform that operates out of Bangalore, India. Now, this has been a pretty exciting journey for what amounts to a fairly young company. Get My Parking was founded about 5 years ago, and today has provided technology solutions to parking operators around the world. You can see a few of them here. We have at Get My Parking provided APCOA with very significant technology support for many of the services that they offer to their customers. For those of you unfamiliar, APCOA is both the largest parking operator in Europe and one of the largest parking operators in the world. We have operations with parking operators in the U.S. And as a fun anecdote, one of the earliest activities that Get My Parking did to prove that its technology would work is it set up parking solutions for the largest gathering of humanity on Earth, which is an Indian festival that takes place every 5 years, called the Kumbh Mela. Get My Parking has currently handled over 40 million transactions worldwide, and they're present in over 16 countries. So this is to say, you might be unfamiliar with Get My Parking, but it's a very, very well experienced, very scalable solution that's ready for even the largest of enterprises. Now, to give you some small sense of our philosophy and how it might be different from others out there, we, at the beginning, sat back and thought to ourselves, well, listen, what is the problem? Why are we not able to get to this fantastic dream world of autonomous vehicles that park themselves? What's the problem? And it turned out that the problem was very simple. Hardware and software could not or did not talk to each other easily. There were many integrations that were missing that caused a whole bunch of additional work for people, that also prevented business from offering additional services. And so when we looked more closely and we thought, well, sure, that's the fantasy, that's the vision. But in the short term, we know that customers want touchless parking, at least to be able to go in and out and pay without having to touch anything. And so we turned to a very specific piece of hardware in the garage, which is the gate. And we thought if we can just get that gate connected to the cloud, then we can connect every other piece of hardware and every other software to that cloud. And then we can offer customers touchless parking experiences, contactless payments, and a whole host of additional services. So that's what we did. And once that happened, once we were able to find a solution to make that possible that was inexpensive and rapid, well, then we were able to offer a variety of additional value-add services to customers. All of a sudden, through an app that you owned or that we provided, you were able to do things like offer valet services or car wash services. You could start to use a parking garage as a place to have packages delivered and more. Now, there were also some more conventional services that were provided in here where all of a sudden you could provide even transient parkers with an ability to reserve parking spaces in advance. You could provide tenants in a commercial shopping mall with an ability to offer validated parking all through their app, which made the experience considerably better for all. More importantly, producing this cloud and connecting that gate to it allowed a business to be considerably more agile. Now it was possible for dynamic pricing to be available. You could have real-time data that told you dwell time and occupancy rates so that you could better match supply and demand through a pricing mechanism. You were able to do other potentially even more powerful things like provide dynamic access to any company out there that chose to try to fill your garage because they would no longer be obliged to reserve a certain number of bays with you. So your parking garage would have full control over who filled it and what prices you could set. So with all of these wonderful promising features, we still had a problem, particularly as COVID hit earlier in the year. And the problem was simple. There wasn't enough manpower and there was even less money than there was before. And so what we did was we thought first, okay, well, we need a nice and simple solution, which is this. How can we just get even the most bare bones touchless experiences on up and running? And what we did was this. We created a very basic solution that worked like the cloud deployment diagram that you see above. This very basic solution involved a $250 piece of hardware that was a DIY installation that would take 4 hours. Once done, you were able to provide touchless experiences through QR code, if that's what the property required. It was very rapid, very inexpensive, and it offered a route to be touchless much faster than anything else that was out there. Now, For businesses that have more complicated or varied hardware and properties across the portfolio that had various different levels of investment, we also provided the traditional offering, which is our full deployment, which worked in much the same way, save an edge computer, so an inexpensive, very, very basic, small computer would need to be installed in a garage, which would take a little bit more effort, but nonetheless the process would work the same way. With the addition of that, however, you were then able to provide access to any type of access technology that you wish. And this actually is how we worked with NEDAP. By hooking up our edge computer to the I/O board to the gate, all of a sudden we were able to provide services like a connection to an ANPR camera or an LPR camera. So this is how it works. Now, to conclude, the objective here was, how do we get the operator to provide touchless access to all of its properties, of the from the most simple to the most advanced. But once that's done, there are a suite of additional services that we can offer. And I'm not going to bore you and take you through each of the products and services that we offer today. You can see them nicely on the screen here. But I would like to highlight maybe just one. The product that we've been talking about is GMP Access, but maybe one of the more interesting ones for sake of a teaser about GMP's products is GMP AI. Now, our artificial intelligence solution has two very unique, very interesting applications. The first one is our AI ML image matching. So what this does is it allows for the technology that an ANPR camera provider offers to work a little bit faster. But what it also does is it allows for greater compatibility and a greater ability to handle things like vanity plates or plates from out of state, out of province, or out of country. So if that had been a problem before, we might have a solution for you with GMP AI. We also have a solution within that set for the enforcement piece of your business, which allows for things like helping the enforcement personnel choose where to go based on some algorithms. It makes their life much easier, and it also improves collection as well. So if you want to learn more about the solutions of Get My Parking, if you want us to dive a bit deeper and talk about the unique needs of your business, please reach out to us at, if you're looking for a contact in the US right now, you can reach out to Kevin or Chris. Their contact details are right here. This can also be made available after as well. If you wish to reach out to Chirag, our CEO, then his contact details are here, as well as his US contact information. So that, in a nutshell, is Get My Parking. And I thank you for taking a few minutes to listen to me as I present it. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just pass over to Evelien. Evelien, it's over to you.
Thank you, David. Today I would like to talk about touchless free flow parking, and especially how can you fill and how can you fulfill the touchless free flow requirement and what is needed in the car park. David outlined it briefly as well, what you need from Get My Parking side. I will focus more on the identification technologies that will enable this. My name is Evelien O'Sullivan. I'm a proposition manager within NEDAP identification system, focusing on automatic vehicle identification solutions as well as our parking sensor products. And today I'd like to discuss the key role of identification technologies to enable free flow parking services. At NEDAP, we believe that everybody should feel welcome when reaching their destination. You only have one chance to make the first impression, and the customer should feel welcome, especially when he reaches his parking destination, because it's the first point of contact with either the shopping center or a corporate facility. So COVID-19 drives the need to realize a healthy and safe parking experience. And the consumer expectations are changing due to this. There's an ongoing transformation from digitization, frictionless parking, with more focus on customer experience. COVID-19 adds the dimension of health and safety, and we see especially that during these times, people prefer to use their private car for trips use more pre-booking facilities in general for restaurants and other activities, but also for parking, and want to eliminate touch points, so create a more free flow entry and exit situation. How can you create such a touchless free flow parking experience? Vehicle identification technology offers the basis for calculating the parking fee transaction. The entrance and exit time of a vehicle entering a barrierless car park system records the entrance and exit time, and based on that you calculate the transaction fee. It's therefore key that this is a reliable system and that vehicles can enter and exit the car park without having to touch anything or without the need to stop even. NEDAP is the leading specialist in automatic vehicle identification, and we're the technology enabler for industry-leading parking services. We see a change also into more innovative software-based parking solutions like Get My Parking that enable this touchless free flow parking experience for users. Here are some of the leading partners in the industry that we work with. As mentioned, NEDAP is a technology enabler. We provide vehicle identification technologies that can integrate into parking management systems, but also into parking operator systems, like for example, APCOA, Get My Parking, SMB and Hub, and these are only a selection of partners we work with worldwide. Popular application areas are shopping malls, train station, airports, and city centers. How can you capture a vehicle identification? You can identify a vehicle either based on a mobile phone of the driver using, for example, Bluetooth low energy technology, capture the vehicle based on an RFID tag, or capture a vehicle based on a license plate that each vehicle is already equipped with. I'll focus on these three technologies in a little bit more detail. If we do a technology comparison, you see Bluetooth is a very likable technology. It uses the mobile phone of the driver to be captured. However, it also requires a human interaction, and the reading range is often less stable and has more interference. It is a great technology to be used for incidental users, so if you don't want to issue a tag or if people are using pre-booking facilities. Long-range RFID is based on a tag located in the vehicle and a reader located at the gate. It is a proven technology that works very well in especially all different circumstances with a very high accuracy. It is therefore the preferred choice for loyalty and staff members or people who frequently use the car park. ANPR technology is increasingly being applied for free flow applications, especially because there's an increase in these applications and also because the accuracy of ANPR in general is increasing also throughout the years. ANPR can be used for frequent as well as incidental users, has a high accuracy, and ideal is also that you don't have to issue anything to the vehicle itself. All these three technologies can be applied for different applications. Key is therefore to understand the application and to understand the requirements of the application to determine which technology suits best. If we look at different application requirements, we can look at traffic volume. How busy is your car park? How much traffic does the vehicle identification system need to handle? Does it need to be rapid and reliable? You can look at convenience. What is the convenience you want to offer the user? Are your users frequent users or loyalty members, for example? And what are the conditions? Is it a challenging entry-exit situation at the car park? And also the type of users. Is it an incidental user, a frequent user, or is it perhaps the pre-booked service? We can fulfill, based on vehicle identification, the requirements for all these four elements. Let's look at a use case. I want to outline a little bit more Germany's largest ticketless barrierless parking system. It's using NEDAP's ANPR technology because they had very high requirements. It had to offer excellent customer service as well as a very high number of throughput of vehicles. Our technology was selected because of the high detection rate and also because of the low operating cost. This is the ICE train station in Germany. It offers a free flow parking service, over 1,000 spaces and over 60,000 entries per month. You can enter the car park using license plate recognition and pay either by app or pay by pay station by entering your license plate details. Our ANPR technology detects each vehicle as it enters and exits the car park and bases the transaction fee on this. For this specific project, we achieved a 99% recognition rate. The conclusions for touchless free-flow parking. There are new standards in parking that need to meet new health and safety requirements. We see a boost in touchless experiences for as well access as payments. An accurate, reliable information is required to base these transactions on. We see also that it can create a consistent revenue control and reduce the investment in hardware in the car park, and also reduce the cost-saving operations of sanitizing and replacing tickets in the car park itself. Why NEDAP as a technology partner? We have 30 years of experience. We are financially healthy, even in these times. We have a complete AVI portfolio and can offer global support. So we're a technology enabler to provide free-flow services to your clients. We enable your free flow. You want to know how? Please contact us. And if you have any questions, please let David or myself know, and we're happy to answer your questions.
There are actually a couple there for you. So I'm not sure if you're seeing them there, but there were a couple from Luzanne that you might want to address.
Yeah, let me see. I cannot see them. Can you?
Yeah, I'll read one out to you. So she's asked, can NEDAP vehicle ID systems be integrated into any parking or pre-booking systems?
Yeah, basically we have an open interface, so we can integrate any parking management system, any pre-booking system, or any free flow system in the market.
Okay. And I think the other question was, are there? She's asked if there's representatives in the U.S.
Yeah, we do have an office in the U.S. based with commercial and technical support that can support our clients in the U.S.
Okay. So if people wanted to connect there, would they do so through you and email, and you'd refer them on?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, fabulous. Well, I think we held true to our promise on time of getting this done within 25 minutes. So yay us, pats in the back. But if there's no other questions, I really do want to thank you all for joining us. Well, thank you all so much. I wish you all a great day.
Thanks very much.